Dallas Morning News.
Your colleagues are laughing at you right now. So,
Smile.
vacation. Well, how was it? Good.
I didn't realize y'all went to an 18-week season. When did that happen? Three players, Hall of Fame finalist class with Ware, Woodson, and Howley. Just talk about one franchise having that in any one season.
Well, I think staying there. I wish they played on our team. Today. But no, I think obviously three great candidates. And I know they're going to speak today. So obviously, Darren and so. Yeah, I think their careers speak for themselves. I think of DeMarcus Ware, the pass rush, both here and playing in Denver, and Darren Woodson. I just to be able to play nickel and strong safety without leaving base defense. That was one of the first players that I experienced because I was with the Chiefs back in 1995. We played here in Dallas, so two great players, very well respected. You hear so much about them. So, but I think all three guys would be definitely excellent candidates to go into the Hall.
When you have moments like this, do you reference it with your current players to show that, hey, this franchise with this history, you perform at a certain level here, it does set you apart and set you up for some things, or how do you acknowledge it, I guess?
It's acknowledged every time you walk down the hall. The history and the tradition of the Dallas Cowboys is amongst us, all the time. But obviously this is a process that you go through every year. And I look back, over the years, you're always rooting for, guys, and this is obviously that first big step, and then it obviously comes down there, Hall of Fame weekend, so or Super Bowl weekend. So obviously, I wish all three of them the best of luck.
Classroom folks, our Telegram. You worked all season trying to get some continuity up front, and you trying to get five.
I'm laughing at your coat. You must. What are you all dressed up for today?
I had an event this morning. Had an event.
Okay. How did it go well for you?
It went well.
You look great.
Actually, I introduced Charles Haley at an event. So.
Oh, that's nice. Now you're name dropping.
Well, I'm just saying. Since Cal making it Hall of Fame, we're talking about Hall of Fame. So I'm just
I should go change. Yeah.
There you go. You were worked all season to try to get some continuity up front, and then three new starters possibly going into the playoffs. How challenging is that with three changes up front?
Well, frankly, we're dealing with both offensively and defensively. So, obviously some of the things we're doing with our secondary, it's part of the ride. It's part of the journey. Injuries are part of the game. So, we're going to line up to play to win the game against Washington. But, also we are cognizant of, playing, different combinations as you've already stated, just to make sure we're as ready as we possibly can be going into the playoffs.
Mike Todd Archer of the ESPN. Consider you've been here in the Packers. Does the history of a franchise ever become a burden to the current team, or do they have to learn to embrace that?
Oh, I don't think so. Never have. And I think it's something you definitely should embrace. To me, I always looked at it as an energy source. The pride that's in the bricks and everything around here. It is obviously built by the generations before us, and I think it's something that I think we do a great job of honoring it, acknowledging it. But I've always looked at it as it's an energy source. Pride and where you work, who you work for, the success before you. So no, I don't think it's a negative at any means.
Michael McCarthy, Dallas Morning News. Your penalties are way down the past 5 games, including on offense.
That's what we do.
What do you attest? Certainly only a few on offense these past handful of games. What do you attest that?
It's purely 110% coaching. There's no way around that. But no, I just think it's a credit to our players. It's obviously, I think, just like anything, you go through corrections, you emphasize things on a daily basis. You always have growing pains. I don't care how long you coach in this league, especially just the way this league's gone with younger players. Obviously, we played a lot of, we're playing younger players a lot the last 2 years. So I think you just stay the course, and they've done a great job amongst themselves, and enough's enough, and you could hear the chatter in practice when things aren't the way they should be, and we've implemented a couple things just to emphasize it even more. But I think our players have been super cognizant of it. The urgency is definitely there because we know how that can hold you back. So they've done a great job the last 5 weeks.
As part of that, do you feel like when you, after games, at the team meeting, you show pre-snap penalties, that reinforces it with players to further?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you definitely have different ways of emphasizing, whether it's PowerPoint, video. I just think like anything, every minute of every team meeting, every offensive meeting, walk through, how many reps you're getting. I mean, that's part of the competition as a coach, and so everybody emphasizes differently. But once again, I think the reality of it is it has to be in the locker room. And if you want something that you're trying to get done as a coach, regardless, if fundamentals or things that aren't quite what they are. I mean, it has to become a culture, a locker room focus, and I think our players have done an excellent job of that.
Hey, Coach Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. How did Matt Farniok look at his first practice back, and is he physically at a point where there's at least a chance he's available for Washington?
I think it really excellent question. Today's a big day for him. We'll go through the first half of practice in pads, and so I really want to see him work in the the individual work, the pass rush, the team run, 9 and 7 type periods. So those will big periods for us as far as his evaluation. Yeah.
Christy Scales, Cowboys Radio, kind of piggybacking on Michael's question about the penalties, and you've talked to us throughout the year about how different weeks you've emphasized different things, and I think it was after the Jacksonville game there were a large number of big plays in that game that you mentioned. What's the point of emphasis this week, and does it change anything last regular season game going into playoffs?
Well, I mean, the reality of it is that the Cowboys 6 is really the focal point, from day one. It's the fundamentals of the game of football, and we all grow up with ball security, tackling, obviously blocking, but, we treat big plays as one of the 6 fundamentals of, being successful in pro football. You cannot win in the NFL without big plays. It's something that we chart, throughout the game. I mean, it's something that it's a point of emphasis that I always make at halftime. It's one of the points that I talk about at halftime. Say, hey, we're 9, we're 9 and they're 6, we're +3. There's going to be another 15, 16, 17 big plays. Because I think the biggest thing about big play opportunities, you just can't chase them. And I think the bigger the game, when there's a discipline, an emotion discipline in big play opportunities. I mean, it's obviously, I think, people may think it's the physical, but to me, it's more the mental and emotional discipline that keeps you, ready to go when that opportunity presents itself, because it's going to happen. I mean, it's been proven 30 to 32 big play opportunities are available each game. So, and it's something that we, like I said, if it's part of our Cowboys 6, it's a primary focus for us. It's a primary as far as the commitment of time, energy, teaching, education. So big plays is part of our every week conversation and emphasis.
Mike, Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. I got 2 for you. Joseph, will he be back today?
Joseph?
Calvin Joseph?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't get you mixed with the
Yeah.
tooth. Are you surprised Turpin hasn't worn down considering how many games he's played, or are you amazed by how much energy he has?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, I haven't seen any slowdown in him at all. He's a little under the weather today, so I haven't got the final on that. He pulled out of the meetings. Wasn't feeling very good. So, but no, it is. I mean, you think about it, just in his second season, and so and just the returns. We haven't really used him on offense as much as we've had him prepare for. As far as when you look at his number of reps. So, but yeah, he's done a great job. Playing this much football.
Mike, a few weeks ago you talked about Micah and Derek Thomas. I'm wondering if you talked about DeMarcus Ware. Are there traits that they share that you see with those 2 guys?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just clearly from an offensive perspective, when you compete against DeMarcus Ware, I mean, it's every third down game plan that I ever put in against him, he was a focal point, and whether we're sliding a protection to him, help him with the tight end. So I mean, those are the type of players that keep the offensive coordinators up a little longer, because you just definitely there's just no quit. I mean, it's constant, and you may feel like you have it under control for 55, 60 plays, and then 2 biggest plays of the game. He just had an incredible motor. Just obviously played at a high level for such a long time.
Has Mike ever told you anything about their conversations that they've had the last couple of years?
Last year, I just remember the individual work that he was doing. I know he really enjoyed the hand-to-hand combat drills and some of the things that. So, and I think it's like anything, especially in today's game. I mean, our players, really players in high school, college. I mean, just the resources that they have, and I think it's a very positive thing to have those types of resources and to utilize them. So, yeah, that's definitely a relationship I hope Micah keeps at the forefront throughout his time here.
When you're talking about the big plays, you're talking about not only the importance of them, but not chasing them over the course of the game. So when you put together a game plan and the flow of the game plan, do you periodically go look at certain stretches and say, well, we have to have something in here that allows us to.
Yeah, but see that's
I know it depends on the game plan.
Yeah,
too, so.
but I think that's the misnomer of it, and that's why we treat it as the way we do. In big plays is a fourth down stop. I mean, it's not just clearly okay. Here's the scheme design that we're going to throw the ball deep on this play. It gives us a big play opportunity, but you got to have. You got to have big play opportunity focuses, but the reality of it is, your base run, your inside zone or your outside lead zone could be the biggest play of the game. And that's something that, you rep over and over again. I believe in when you put together offensive, playbooks, defensive playbooks, you have to have primary concepts, secondary concepts, and auxiliary concepts. And another cool way of saying it is, you got to have a fastball, you got to have a curveball, and you got to have a changeup. So I think you really got to play to that, because the reality of it is when you get to the end of the journey and you're going back through the season, your fastballs are probably should be your most productive concepts, because it's ROI, it's return on investment. I mean, those types of focal points are important, and it's easy to get pulled away because you guys do such a great job with your analytics. You're challenging us to be more diverse. You, Michael, I'm talking about you, but so more diverse and those types of things. But I think you got to watch, saying, okay, we're down by 14 or we're down by 21. Now we got to start pushing the ball deeper. That's not, that's the mindset you don't want to have. Just keep playing. Most importantly, trust yourself, trust the teammate, and trust the scheme that you're invested in, and those big plays will happen.
So you're always looking at it holistically,
Yes.
as far as offense and defense, not just.
And special teams. Yeah, absolutely. Every time we line up, there's, was there 160 plays a game? it's every time you line up, there's an opportunity for a big play.
Mike Jory, Yahoo Sports. You've talked about the challenges of training an offensive line in the offseason, about how Tyron Smith's had to get a bunch of his work in game. When you think about practicing run blocking, given how many offensive line changes you have right now, what can you do during the week, and what's the key to getting as much work as you can?
Well, I just like anything, the footwork, playing fast to your aiming point, just stressing the fundamentals, and I think over time, and I think it's been great. It's been great for us as coaches. You've had to learn to be more creative, with the restrictions of padded work, which I think I think there's such a misconception. I don't even want to go down this rabbit hole, but if you put pads on, you're not being safe with the players. It's totally incorrect. You can practice with safer, a safer environment in pads. It should be more about what you're doing. What specifically are you doing? So, but I think just like anything in life, you see it all the time when they're trying to correct something or make an emphasis. There's a tendency to overdo it, and I think it's clearly what we've done in the area of padded work, because you young players need to work, with their pad level, their footwork, and all those things. And it's not that every time you put pads on, that means you're going to do a 25 play 9-on-7 drill, running lead zone every play. That's not the point, because just look at the way the game's played. I mean, the role changes and the space and the angles and the multiple schemes in the run game are higher than ever, higher than I can ever even recall. The utilization of the quarterback in the run game is higher than it's ever been in the National Football League. And these are all spatial challenges that require the ability for our players to play at full speed with proper fits. So it sure is hell not the best way of doing it in walkthroughs all the time. I think anybody that's ever coached or played football recognizes that. So you just got to find ways to be creative and do the best you can.
Mike, Haley said, DallasCowboys.com. Obviously, when you added T.Y. Hilton, you knew that he would still be a threat as a wide receiver, but I believe 4 of his 5 catches have been for significant third down yardage. Did you expect that kind of production from him in that regard of him being so efficient, keeping plays going, or what have you most been impressed with?
Well, I mean, we really just followed David's big play call sheet, so we just called the big plays to T.Y. only. But, that's just kidding. So,
And then you'll get the scouting report.
Yeah, but no, I think it just goes to show you, it's a great example of him, just, his experience running the route. Obviously the 3rd and 31 was a unique situation, but. Yeah, I mean, he's, if you look at his history in Indianapolis, I mean, his ability to run a 4 route is unique, and everything that comes off of that stem. So, yeah, and I think it just, shows that what he can do, and it's been impressive, based off of those numbers. But, hopefully we can get him more involved.
Do you feel the interception stat, the way it always goes on the quarterback's ledger, is a bit antiquated? And in-house, you guys have obviously you guys have a lot more nuance when it comes to that.
I don't know how else you would do it. I mean, I understand. The quarterback grade sheet. As far as how you break down interceptions. Personally, it's been the same for me since 1989. And I feel it works. So, yeah. Because now you're putting, who's making the decisions on is it on the receiver or if it's on the quarterback, and some of them are black and white, but there are other things that happen. There's other variables that would potentially not give you the most accurate evaluation.
With Leighton doing at least a little bit of something yesterday, how important is that, even if he doesn't play this week, to get him some work going?
Yeah, definitely very important. Just want to get Leighton back out there, and just kind of going off a little bit of the question about fundamentals for offensive line. Even if he just could do the 7-on-7 reps, just to get him back out there and triggering, firing, playing with vision, getting his matches. He's our play caller on defense. Just to get back in the flow and get the triggers going as far as the communication and all that. I think it'll be great for him. So, but yeah, we're obviously going to be smart with him because of the history. But the more he can do, maybe not do a whole lot today. He won't do anything team. Non-contact is the focus. But my hope was maybe Saturday get him in some of the 7-on-7s. Get him some work there.
Clarence Hill. Yesterday was so emotional, regarding DeMar. What's the team's mindset today, and just talk about the focus on Washington now?
Well, just the number of guys that I talked to, and they actually came up in the quarterback meeting before I came in here. Just the positive news that we're all hearing is just, it's uplifting. It's everybody's very engaged with it, and I think just like a lot of things. When you have tragedy in these type of moments, it makes grown men talk, and that's come some of the conversations that I had, particularly this morning and last night. It makes us have conversations that you're really not comfortable talking about. So I know from our personal experience as a football team, we've had an opportunity to grow through this, but as obviously the most important is DeMar's health, and that he keeps making progress and gets back to where he needs to be, with his families and his football team. So, but yeah, I think it's the energy is definitely picked up today because of the good news that we're hearing out of Cincinnati.
John Michaud, The Athletic. How do you prepare for a quarterback like Sam Howell that there just isn't a lot of tape on?
Yeah, probably, same way you did. We, as soon as we got the news, we just went and grabbed all the tape. And, I know Dan and Brian Schottenheimer were going through it, as soon as Dan came up from the meetings. And, and obviously the coaches. And so just make sure you're in touch with his mannerisms and, his tendencies and his style of play. Look at as much as you can get, as far as his route tree and, his timing and, how's he playing the pocket, out of the pocket. And, so, who do you compare him to? Those types of things. And, and as far as the scouts were on it right away, and actually it was something that they brought to our attention on Monday too. So there was a potential, anticipation that he would play. So, I feel like today and tomorrow and definitely Saturday we'll be ready to go.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
All right. Thank you.